All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Love Wrestling Reacts. We're talking after Smackdown. We're back with Parrish and myself. What's been going on, dude?
Oh, not too much. Just repping my. Oh yeah, this is the shirt that I wanted to talk to you about. I'm repping my old tag team with my Nike. You know how I always say we copied everyone? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Tag struggle. You can kind of see it correctly now. Yeah, that's our Bullet Club rip-off version right there. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad, but I gotta say I'm kind of outdoing you with the T-shirt tonight, bro, because I got sporting the new Love Wrestling T-shirt. So suck it.
Well, that's only because our beautiful sponsor, aka promoter, was supposed to deliver said T-shirt with said title. Now that I am champion, that I won at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, boyhood dream coming true, nonetheless. And you know what? He's just dropping the ball. I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, but then again, he's a Colts fan. As a Saints fan who beat them in the Super Bowl, I understand that he's a little nervous. So, he just doesn't want to let it go.
And saying, but the offer for beer at the back here stands. If you want to come pick it up, there we go. So yeah, man, this is getting close to wrapping up a week. For those who have been watching our content this week, know that I've been on pretty much every single day this week. It's been a blast for somebody who loves wrestling to be on Love Wrestling, talking about wrestling. It's been a lot of fun this week, man. And before we kind of get into the details, what did you think of just in general of SmackDown as a whole before we get into kind of the deets here?
Well, it kind of blends in with Raw because I did find Raw was a good go-home show for WrestleMania Backlash. And I thought SmackDown did the same as well. So I thought WWE, for the first time in a while, has made me invested in what they're doing in a pay-per-view coming up. So kudos to them, because I still think they sucked for WrestleMania and they didn't do a good enough job for the Rumble. So in that aspect, because it was a go-home show, I give you guys a B+ for that one. But yeah, I think Cesaro looks very strong going in. There's a lot of dissension between Roman Reigns, Jimmy, and Jay, which is nice to see kind of as a side note going into that match. And then we're talking off air, but we have new women tag team champions, which really ponders my brain.
We'll get to that.
Now.
We'll get to that. But I thought especially with Bianca and Bailey and then this deal with Cesaro and Roman, I thought they've done a really good job with those two programs going forward.
Can you put Ed's comment up? I want to kind of just
what's going on?
You see that, Ed? Yeah. That's actually a wrestling championship. So I always have a championship on me. Every episode I've done, there's always been a title.
Nice.
So there you go.
That's pretty much the only thing that's missing from my studio here is an actual wrestling championship or belt. I got to work on getting one of those at some point. Probably either the traditional Intercontinental title or maybe one of the New Japan titles. I think would look nice, like right around in this area here.
You know what? I honestly do think we should save the championship title design conversation for a Sunday brunch. I actually really like that.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, we started off with Roman in the ring, of course, building up to this having to call it WrestleMania Backlash, just in case people aren't aware that this is a show that is following WrestleMania. We just got to make sure we remind people that this is indeed the Backlash of WrestleMania.
Yeah. I just don't understand why they do this. I just don't why do they have to just why just call it Backlash, just keep it as its own. We know it's we just come on. I remember the old Backlash where you had the stage with the little daggers swooping in, which I think needs to come back, by the way.
Yeah.
That was so good because I still think it's time that it hits somebody, probably Titus, because he'll slide or fall or do something stupid. But
is there just briefly on that? I know we venture on some of these tangents, but whenever you bring up something I think is worthwhile, I love going on these little side topics with you. Is there anything recently in just like in wrestling memory that has made you like laugh genuinely more than Titus sliding into the ring in Saudi Arabia? Because that, like, for me, that's like one of the most recent things where I generally like was like pissing myself laughing so hard. Like that was like a genuine, like, hilarious blunder.
Yes, and I'm actually going to take the time to actually say this, because this happened with me and my best friend Mike, who's part of Take Struggle. It wasn't the same thing. So I wrestle in a company called Monster Pro Wrestling. Once a year, we have what we call Retribution, and there's a hardcore battle royal. Fans bring the weapons. For whatever reason, for a few years, a dildo was always brought to said battle royal. My tag partner, Maniac, was about to get eliminated from one side of the ring. Some fan just yells, "Parrish, help Maniac!" And I look down to see what is around me, and I see a freaking dildo. So I take dildo, and I just throw it across one side of the ring. And the guy who's trying to eliminate him, obviously his backside is towards me. It hits him straight kind of in the back end of the testicles.
Wow.
To where, yeah, and the best part is, there's a guy on the side videotaping it. And when you see that side, you're just seeing the close-up of the elimination. He's doing a good job. But then all of a sudden, in the top left, you're just seeing this flying dildo coming in and just nailing and bag tagging the guy who's trying to eliminate him.
Oh, boy.
Sure enough, you get hit in the nuts. It hurts. So he's selling. Then all of a sudden, the knife looks at the dildo, picks it up, and just starts beating him over the head with it, like Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore, when he's beating up the kid with the hammer. And that, to this day, still gets me to laugh, because the accuracy that I had with that thing was second to none.
A few of the valid comments in our chat here. Ed saying it's for the search results to bring in the casuals who see WrestleMania attached to it. That is a fair statement. And Spenny saying I could have gone with WrestleMania 2 Electric Boogaloo. Boogaloo is one of those words that needs to be more commonly used. And then Ed saying, "Ooh, I like that." And also kudos to today's interview. It was excellent watch. Yes, make sure and check out Spencer's most recent episode of The Mind Behind. Very well done. Go and check it out.
Spencer, I thought this was SmackDown recap, not putting yourself over.
We got to make sure and put everybody over here.
I know.
Especially the boss. We always got to make sure we put the boss over.
Not until he gives me my title.
All right, man. So our first
check it out. Spencer is the king of interviews. He really is. He's killing it. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his head, his mindset, his brainchild. So thank you, Spencer, for allowing us to be ourselves on your platform.
Absolutely.
So SmackDown, that's what we're talking about.
All right, man. Well, the first actual match for the evening, we had Tamina and Natalya versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the I want to say SmackDown Women's Championship or Tag Team Championship. It's actually just the Women's Tag Team Championship. I lose track. There's too many friggin' titles in this company, but a decent match. For those, I mean, now it's just a staple with myself that those who are regulars here love wrestling know that I'm not the biggest Nia Jax fan. I always kind of cringe when she's in a match, just
but she's not like most girls,
and then just hoping that she's not going to hurt anybody. But they did okay tonight, and I thought the match itself was fine. Just I'm like, why, if you were going to make this move, why would you not have done it at WrestleMania? It's so much more of an accomplishment at the moment to do it at WrestleMania or do it at a pay-per-view. But just on an episode of SmackDown, it felt a little anticlimactic. But I'm glad that they made the move. It felt like the timing was maybe a couple weeks behind.
Yeah, like I just don't understand. Like when you make a title change and you don't put it on a big platform, I think you're devaluing not only the tandem or the individual that wins said title, but also the title itself a little bit. I just don't think you're giving it the proper stage, the proper build, and the proper spotlight that it deserves. It is a championship. These are what the female tag teams are vying for and care about.
Yeah.
So even though like I do like, it makes SmackDown a little bit more unpredictable. Like you never know what title could change hands if defended. I understand that. It's like when AJ won the U.S. title at Madison Square Garden in the live event. Kind of the same thing, keeping the people on their toes. However, you're not going to get that live reaction or live pop from the audience because there is no audience really. You just have TV streams, and then you can put in whatever audio you want. They do that, but yeah, like I don't know, like give them a little bit of a platform. When the women need kind of more time anyway, give them a pay-per-view match, and there you go. Like I just make it a bigger deal than what it is. If you make it a bigger deal, we perceive it as a bigger deal. Therefore, the championships matter that much more.
Just making a shout out to John Russell Plug Inc. here, saying that named the last time you saw fireworks on a podcast. Yeah, we actually blew our entire budget on that one little spot there. So Spencer's such a huge fan of fireworks, so I'm sure that
I actually have an admission that's not a guild. We actually didn't blow the budget on the fireworks. I actually stole the budget. I went to lovewrestling.com/shop and bought a lot of t-shirts with it.
There you go.
Since I'm actually on, I'm allowed to say it because if I was in the chat, Nightbot, who is a giant dick, by the way, would actually delete the message.
Yeah. Thank God we sold Joe a shirt. So
I love how I'm like absolutely just trashing Nightbot right now on the stream.
Yeah, and Nightbot does what he does. And
Nightbot, come at me, bro.
Caught you being nasty with the links there, Perry. That's what happened there.
Yeah. I don't you, Parrish.
Yeah, man. Like I definitely don't want to shit on Tamina and Eddie's moment because I mean, I'm happy that they put the title on them.
Yeah.
But just the timing felt like the timing felt off. Glad they made the move. Just timing not fantastic.
And I believe this was also Tamina's first title in WWE, so that should not go unnoticed. Well deserved on her end. She is a heck of a worker.
Because I mean, dude, like what a bounce back from.
And she's in phenomenal shape. Like I just want to point out, like how much she looks in great shape. She was a bit bigger years back on her, and I really put in the work, and it tells. And it's a well-deserved opportunity for her.
You want to talk like living like in the shadow, like, and she's not the only one. Talk about living in the shadow of like so much darkness and negativity and whatever you want to call it. What happened with her dad? I mean, for those who want to find out the good portion of the story, go check out Dark Side of the Ring, the episode on Nancy Argentino and what happened with her and Jimmy Snuka. I mean, she there's not too many people that could dig themselves out of a hole like that, and to not only do that, but then to get over with a good portion of the audience. You got to give her props for that. That's tough to do, man. There are some that either have never even attempted it because it's too much of a mountain to climb, or some just don't. And so you got to give Tamina props.
Yeah. Yes, I know she has won the 24/7 title. I just like talking about championships that I consider important or that matter. 24/7 title is more of a parody comedy act to me.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but
it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yeah. All right, so next up we had Rey Mysterio versus Ziggler, just kind of like a setup match coming up for WrestleMania Backlash. A good match. I mean, definitely a solid match here. I think it advanced things a little bit to set up for Sunday. And I mean, like I said, matchup itself. I mean, dude. I mean, you got Rey Mysterio, like one of the best still cruiserweight type wrestlers on the planet, and you got Ziggler, who's been a mainstay in WWE for who knows how long now. I've lost track. I mean, just a fantastic match, and that's about all I got to say about it. I mean, it didn't set the world on fire, but it accomplished what it needed to tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they have a championship match for the tag titles this Sunday at WrestleMania Backlash, and they're going for history. They're looking to become the first father-son duo to become WWE tag champions of any sort. And I think this is very historic, but the one thing I don't like is that the fact that this is their first attempt. I hope for the sake of the build, I want them to not win. I hope that they have a little bit of a falter. I hope they do win eventually. I think a SummerSlam win would be huge, especially if this is a match. This is a moment that I think it's better if there's people. I really do.
That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
Just because I think the amount of generation, Think about this. Imagine a father-son going to a show and they're watching a father and son winning the championships together. How inspiring is that? How much of a bonding moment is that for not only the father but also the son in both retrospects? But at the same time, like this is such this is one of those moments, and I'm actually going to say that I went to WrestleMania 22, and I was 20 years old. I'm 35 now. I was in pro wrestling for 2 years, and I didn't honestly believe that anybody my size could ever do anything. And I was a Shawn Michaels fan, knowing that he is 5'9", 180, 190 pounds, with all this stuff. Seeing Rey Mysterio win the World Heavyweight Championship was inspiring, and he wasn't even close to my favorite wrestler at the time.
Yeah.
He, in my opinion, is one of the best he is the best luchador to ever put a pair of boots on. He is a Hall of Famer. He might go down as the best Mexican wrestler alongside Eddie Guerrero. But at the same time, this guy is an icon. And
no denying it.
The fact that he has stayed around and now he wants to help his son Dominic, who we've seen grow up, like in our eyes, if we follow WWE for the last 20 years, It is amazing to see the story. This story has been told for that long. We just didn't know it at the time. And now they're going for the tag team titles against Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, who is the most underappreciated pro wrestler that comes out of Canada, possibly in WWE right now. And Dolph Ziggler, who is one of the most pure athletes, one of the greatest pure athletes there are. This match is going to be amazing. I'm going to love it. I wanted to continue, though. These are the two perfect guys to hand the titles off to these guys when the time's right. I just hope the time's not right now, because this story is too good for it to end, or just to go to that happy moment right away.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
I ranted a lot, but thank you for that.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. I definitely agree to a certain extent. Ed in our chat saying there hasn't been a title change on a Backlash show since Jinder won the title. I believe that is correct. So yeah, we'll see, man. I was a little surprised. I was actually expecting a little bit of shenanigans and to see actually Ziggler beat Rey Mysterio, but they did have Rey get the win on the go home to this program. So we'll see how it goes, man. But I agree. I'd like to see it kind of continue on, and definitely, I mean, the payoff in front of fans would be fantastic, especially for something like this. It's an emotional, and it's a big first. It's not just the first time in WWE, I believe. And if somebody that knows more than me on the history of professional wrestling can fact check me on this, I believe it's the first time it's just been done in pro wrestling in general. So that would be something. That would be something.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's the first time ever in wrestling.
I think Dusty and Dustin may have come close. In like TNA or something like that, or maybe
I mean, we can get really technical with indies, but in terms of like the mainstay shows, like the big time shows, like I don't know. It's a rare thing to see. It truly is. And
SummerSlam would be good, like especially if like what they're saying of having it at Madison Square Garden with fans.
Like, come on,
damn.
Like, is that not a better opportunity and moment?
Yeah, just
to
pull
the plug on this thing,
a little bit.
And it's a story that deserves that anticlimactic just build. You feel for Dominic when maybe he falters. You want to see him pick back up, or maybe it's Rey who loses it and feels bad for his son. But then again, we've seen that part of the story already. If it's, I don't know, like, to me, this is where storytelling, and this is where WWE and storytelling can really hit you in the heart. Not just in like the, yes, I like this, but in the heart, because it's a father and son. It is just, it's riveting. It truly is riveting.
Yeah. In our chat saying Brad and Bob Armstrong in the NWA, if that counts. Thank you, Google. Yeah. That's interesting.
Well, there you go.
Yes, there we go. Thanks again for our man on the spot and our chat.
Always count on Ed.
Like Ed is literally like the Cal Ripken Jr. in our chat. I mean, that dude is here for every episode of everything that we do. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate all of our loyal listeners and viewers every single time. Next up, we had Cesaro giving a promo backstage, basically just saying that he's entirely different than Roman, and that the way that he's gone about things, he's not entitled or doesn't feel like he deserves a shot. Feels like he's earned it. And that I think really is just further progressing this Cesaro storyline, just making it really feel, and it's 100% correct. And I definitely dig it that, he has earned this opportunity, and boy, is he ever right.
Yeah, I think anybody who's followed Cesaro can truly, that's a lot of faces. Like,
look at that.
I mean, jeez.
Man. I mean, it's just Spencer and JPG, but still, there's a lot of them there.
I mean, somebody needs to get our faces on these things. Yeah. Like, we need our things. Like, there are other. Come on, you know what? And I see, like, yeah.
Here's your chance.
Yeah. Screenshot that one, people.
Yeah, but actually, that might turn people away. Let's not do that.
Oh, no. We can get more emotes if we get more subscribers. Ed, we're gonna count on you for that one. Yep. Just kidding, buddy. But
having said that, if you are watching on Twitch, do hit that subscribe button. It would help us out tremendously. Thank you.
And tell your friends. I mean, just why not? I mean, we'll shout him out. But yeah, no, I mean, Cesaro's just, come on. If he's not the most organic superstar that you want to cheer for nowadays in WWE, then tell me who is. Yeah. Like, it really, because in the last 10 years, he has done everything you can possibly do. He's won the U.S. title. He's won an Andre the Giant Memorial title. And like he picked up Big Show and body slammed him from the inside out of the ring. Like, that was impressive. He suplexed John Cena from the outside in. That's where he debuted that move. John Cena has flat out labeled him as the strongest superstar in WWE. The guy can swing for hours. And he's not even married. But but he's just he's that guy like who just needs that break, and he's somebody that blows my mind that Vince doesn't get add on. He's actually gone out and says that like Vince has really challenged him over the years too, like with some of the things he said about him. And he just keeps coming back fighting. For a guy who looks like James Bond meets Jason Statham and it's real life, it's just like, yes. And he just keeps, and the fact that he's an underdog and he's like an underdog story, that's amazing. It's truly amazing.
It very much reminds me, to make a reference to one of our other shows here on Love Wrestling, Power Out. If you're a fan of the NWA, make sure and check out Zach. Does an amazing job over there. See, I'm transitioning to this here. Is that very much like the question mark, like Josephus in the NWA, of like just being able to like organically get the fans to like genuinely pull and be behind you. Cesaro does that in WWE, and I mean like genuinely, like people love Cesaro for like every aspect, the personality, the character, the in-ring work. I mean, the dude's got the entire package. He's maybe not the best promo in the world, but I mean, like, he makes up for it like in every other aspect. I mean, dude, like, absolutely kills it. So it's nice to see him getting an opportunity, and I honestly, I hope they pull the trigger on it. Although, well, we'll kind of get to that at the end of the thing, because I don't want to eat too much into the POS show for this coming Sunday either.
One thing I want to add, though, like, he might not be the best promo, but when he says something, you believe it, and it's
meaningful,
you know that is genuine, and that's the thing. Like, it's whenever Ricky Steamboat said something. Ricky Steamboat also wasn't the best promo, but when he said something, you believed it, it mattered, and like it was like, and it just felt real. With Cesaro, it feels real. It feels like just pure, and that's the best thing. Like, I think when you have a guy like that, it's special for all the right reasons, and even for like WWE, that might not be the guy that they're looking for, but when you have a guy like that, I mean, it's huge. Look at Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30.
Mm-hmm.
It can give you the best moments that you may not
sure.
have been looking for.
Yep. Next up, we had Bianca Belair come onto the ring, and then we had Bailey up on the Titantron because COVID. Pretty well done. Bianca starting to get better on the microphone, and for the first time, like especially near the end of this promo bit here, like for the first time, I think since Bailey has become a heel, I like genuinely felt like she actually felt like a bad guy or a bad girl in her case, like because up until now it still felt a little kind of a little wonky for me, but like at the end of that, like she actually had me believing that she's actually a bad guy. And so mission accomplished. I think going into that, I'm excited for the match now. So
yeah, and this is like, I'm gonna kind of give you my 3 things that I would love to see Bianca just improve on. I don't want her to be that, and I'm putting my beer down so it's serious.
Yeah.
But I don't want her to talk like this at all. I don't want her to go there. I want her to be genuine.
She moves her hands like this.
Well, and it's like just a clap. I mean, there's a disconnect. She's a black girl and I'm a white boy. Like, it's not going to be like, I don't do it justice. Let's just throw that one. That's the elephant's out. All right. But if you've seen the 24 on her, if you've seen her or just have seen her away from the ring, she not only is also a genuine human being, she has a great story. She's an amazing person.
She works hard.
And she, oh my God, like if you are like, remember when NXT did that like NXT Combine kind of thing when they just put their guys and girls through the ringer on like workouts and things like that? She did some of the most impressive power stuff. Like, she is an athlete and one of the best that they have. And that stuff, I think, gets overshadowed by like, and the spins. Like, there's too much bedazzle because the substance gets overshadowed, and the substance is really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I want to see. Like, I want to see her be more vulnerable in storylines, and I think that would it would attract my intention more to her. I couldn't pronounce the right word. And then the second one, I want to see Bailey be more cutthroat, just more cutthroat.
Yeah.
Not the sarcastic, but cutthroat.
Yeah.
And then the third one,
away from like the cornball laughing, that's getting to be a little much.
Yeah, and then the third one, I want to see them beat the shit against each other.
Yeah.
Just boom. Just don't even give us a wrestling match. Just give us a fight. Yeah. Because I believe that this is a feud that can make this champion. And it's something that this is why I don't get into Sasha Banks as much as other people. When she fights, it doesn't look organic enough. Like, there's people that can really make a brawl look, like a brawl. Austin can make a brawl look like a brawl, right? And Zack Ryder cannot.
And in our chat saying, I want someone to look at me the way Montez looks at Bianca. For sure.
Do you want Montez looking at you like the way he looks at Bianca? Because that might be awkward.
I'd want somebody to look at him the way that Montez looks at Bianca.
Yeah. No, but what happens if it is Montez? Like, that would be a little awkward.
There we go.
But no, and then like these girls, like, I want to see this raw emotion. Like how you felt when like Nia Jax punched Becky with that shot, and you're like, and that moment that came when it's those two in the Rumble, and you're like, okay, here we go. Yeah. That's what I want to feel when I see Bailey. Hey, they got that emotion though.
Yeah.
Say what you want, but they got that emotion.
I'm just glad you didn't hurt her though.
You know what? It would have made Becky even bigger if she did. But I want that emotion between them because that's what the women's either Raw, SmackDown title. That's what they're lacking right now. Is those raw emotions that make you come out of your seat.
Yeah.
They got it at WrestleMania, and it was a happy feeling. Now I want to see like a UFC, like, oh, I can't wait to see this. Let's go kick the crap out of each other. I want that emotion. They need that emotion right now.
Next up, we had a matchup between King Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura. Did a decent job with this match here. Maybe this is because I'm a New Japan guy here, Parrish, and I know not everybody.
Yeah, this is a match I was actually waiting to see your reaction for.
It's so disappointing to me. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I like the match. I love both guys, but just like to see somebody who should be like the champion, like one of like the main guys, like all of the time, to see Shinsuke relegated to basically being like a parody of himself. It's so frustrating because, like, I mean, dude, this guy's a former IWGP championship, former IWGP Intercontinental champion, Rev Pro. I mean, this guy is, NXT champion. I mean, the dude is one of the best wrestlers on the planet, and he's like mid-card comedy shtick. It's so frustrating for me because, I mean, the dude is so friggin' good.
Well, and that's where I was going to...
Corbin's really good, too. He needs to be pushed up higher as well. He's one of these
Corbin's
guys that
one of the best genuine heels in the company.
Absolutely, really, and it's not go away. This guy legitimately has like real heel heat, and he works it really well, and he's good in the ring too. But yeah, I mean, just like especially with Shinsuke, like it's so frustrating to see somebody of his talent just like not necessarily squander, but just not in the right position.
Ed, you know what, Ed? Okay, yeah, I will get there. 1 second.
That's a different possibility.
But to touch on your point is it's WWE, so we got to forget New Japan, even though we're not going to forget about it. That's WWE doesn't worry about what guys did elsewhere.
They're in the bubble,
affiliate. But he is a former NXT champion. Actually, I believe his former 2-time NXT champion. Am I correct on that one?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And then he's also a former Royal Rumble winner. And that's that's the main roster one. And then a former US, or was he US champion? I know Intercontinental. But he was US, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean,
it's so unmemorable. Like it's the problem.
I'm not goldfish coming in, right? Swimming upstairs. But with that being said, that's where it's like, I get it. Like, you want to see him kind of be more what he was in New Japan. Like, I get that. But I think WWE is still WWE. They're still entertainment. The one thing that Shinsuke actually does like to do is that comedic entertainment aspect. Does he want do we want him to be more of what we knew him in the NXT New Japan thing? Yeah. I mean, yeah, we want that perfect balance, I believe. Because when he was a heel and he's like, we speak no English, like that was amazing heel work. Like that was great.
Especially the AJ stuff. The AJ, it's like, me no beat you, me punch you and dick. That was like the shtick with him and AJ. They were trading dick punches for a while.
Yeah. Right? And we talk about Cesaro might not be in the best promo. The promo that we saw that they had with Shinsuke kind of made me... It wasn't that great. I even like Baron Corbin's promo better, and even then it kind of just came off too... I'm like, okay, dude, like tell us what you really feel, because I think that would be better.
Yeah.
I thought he played it too safe, to be honest. But with that being said, like, I thought Shinsuke made up for the comedic purposes with his statement after the match. I thought the finish was weird. I thought when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, somebody messed up. That's honestly what I thought. But then when I saw it, I'm like, clearly this is a storyline.
Yeah.
Clearly they're doing more. There's more emphasis on that crown than they've ever made in a long time. Yeah. There was a King reference going in, King of Strong Style versus the King of the Ring.
Yeah.
So yes, it did have a lot of King of the Ring feel to this. Yeah. And if they did that and Shinsuke is now featured as a prominent role in the King of the Ring, sign me up, because that means he's getting an opportunity that's pretty big, and I can dig that.
Yeah. But yeah, even Spencer saying they mentioned King of the Ring like 83 times when it has to be, right? Yep. And Ed saying Woods for King of the Ring. I've always been a big fan of Xavier Woods, even when he was it Consequences Creed, I think was his other character. Dude's always been a top-notch wrestler. So it'd be nice to see him kind of branch off on his own possibly as well. Because I mean, Big E's killing it as a singles guy. I'd love to see Woods doing his own thing as well.
I would. There's part of me that wants to see Cameron Grimes just come in and win it. Like, I think that'd be fantastic. But with that being said, like I want them just to use King of the Ring less as a gimmick and more of like the intended purpose, and that is to do what the Rumble does, and that's take somebody and build them up to that main event. I always thought the Royal Rumble took you from January, March, April for the WrestleMania, and then the King of the Ring took you to the SummerSlam, and then it's like, okay, here we go. So I kind of want them to do that with the King. Obviously, it's there. The right guy makes that amazing. King Booker did that just fine.
Right.
King Sheamus was kind of a flop. Regal come on. Regal makes anything look great. Barrett was it was good, but it was awkward because Bad News Barrett was just better. And then King Corbin is just too. It's just like, okay, he's been like a king for what, 1 billion years now. Let's have another tournament. So I like the fact that if this is their direction, it's about time. But thank you. Make this an actual one-night pay-per-view, not
absolutely. Yeah.
Like you have this is a time to do it. Yeah. Like, don't give me an elimination change.
Spread it over like 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah.
Don't give us those stupid gimmick matches, pay-per-views. Give us your originals back.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. You hit on something that could even be like a Sunday brunch topic where it's like not every match has to have a gimmick. Sometimes the greatest wrestling matches are just regular one fall matches with no other BS tied to it. You know, not everything has to have, we don't have to have like a belt on a pole match or this kind of other stuff. You know, just sometimes just some of the best wrestling matches in history are just straight up wrestling matches without any other shenanigans tied to it. You know, so sometimes you can just overdo things and it's just not as good. Speaking of which, this might fall into that category here. We're talking Aleister Black was another one of these promos here, Parrish. Good promo. Like I like what they're doing. Like like it's well done. It's well executed. But what's the wrestling context in these promos? Like it feels like we're spinning our wheels with this. I mean, inside of themselves that they're all fine and dandy, but like what's the point of it all? Like
where is it going?
Where's it going? Like and there's no wrestling context in it whatsoever. Like he's just sitting telling stories. I'm like, cool, but like what does this have to do with what you're doing? Like it feels like we're like this is something we're giving him so he doesn't have to work in the ring. Like I don't know what's going on here. That, like I said, inside of themselves they're fine, but I don't know what to think.
See, like, I don't think it's bad that they're doing this. I think this is what they used to do back in the 90s. And you're kind of like, okay, who is this guy? But this is more when you introduce a new character. This isn't like somebody that we've already known for a while and have already been invested in as a persona on TV. So it's okay. Like, now it's like, where's this leading to? Because all we want to see is him in the ring, him getting an opportunity, and you pulling the trigger on him instead of the stop, start.
Yeah.
Stupidity that we've been seeing already. So, yeah, like I completely agree with you when you say, where is this going? I would like to see some subtle hints in the next segments.
Like, who are you targeting? Like, who is this? Like, what's the end game here?
What's the reason for these promos? What's the reason for these segments? Like, exactly. Are
you targeting somebody for a match, or is this like a commercial for jeans? Like what's going on here? I don't know what the difference is. Like it's just I don't get it.
And it's weird too because like I read something that he very well could be going to Raw. So I'm wondering if this is if they are going to do a draft. And just hear me out on this idea. If they're doing a draft and these segments are just to kill some time, get him back in the game until he's drafted to Raw, and then we get that direction and that kind of like, I don't want to say conclusion, but we get that, like we understand where the direction is going to, then it kind of makes sense because at least now he's in our eye and then there's a rhyme to the reason. The problem is if there is no draft, what's that rhyme to the reason? Because it's not there. We already want to see him. So it's like, okay, and ...
Yeah.
We're at the point where what's the ...
Yeah. I don't know about the draft and still the brand split. I almost feel like that is kind of run its course and that we just need to have everybody on both shows again. Especially with these tag team championships, because like the divisions are spread so thin.
Well, I mean, there's only one women's tag team champions. Why can't there just be one men's?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a whole side topic in itself. We could do an entire show somewhere about that whole side of things, but we don't have the time to, unfortunately. So next up, we had our main event for the evening. We had Cesaro versus Jimmy Uso. What did you think, man? I think that this is clearly, I think, the best match of the night here, and I think they did the right business setting up for. I mean, I think they did a really good job ending on the go home show with this. I think they booked the match the right way, and they're setting the right emotion, the right tone going into Sunday.
Yeah, I really liked every aspect of the story. They hit home with it, and that's what matters. They made sure the focus was Cesaro Roman, which is obviously the reason to why this is all going on. They also gave us Jimmy's and the Roman confrontation of like, it's always about you. Like it's and it's like, he's not on board with that. He also had the promo where he's like, why can't, the Usos be tag champs and Universal Champion? Like, why does and it worked right in the sense of now if Jimmy is to go there, it's a swerve. It's just not like something we expected. It is a swerve to a storyline. But with that being said, if he's also the guy that doesn't want to play ball with Roman and his brother, it's a very interesting concept. The thing that I don't want to see, and I don't think they're doing it, but it can happen. I don't want the Roman Jimmy stuff overshadowing Cesaro. Because I did get that at times.
Yeah.
And then they went back to Cesaro when he's beating everyone up. Like when he hits Jimmy, when they did that whole segment out of the ropes, like, get in here. And I thought it was really telling that it was like, it's always about you. And Roman was the first one to go help Jay. I thought that was very telling. But then when Jimmy went up and got hit instantly, that was the one where I'm like, you know what? I thought you could have done the same thing without Jimmy, without Jimmy actually taking a blow necessarily. I would have loved to see Roman go for like maybe a cheap shot on Roman or on Cesaro. Cesaro ducks in and he hits Jimmy. That I thought would have told a better part of that story. Only to see maybe Cesaro go for the neutralizer. Jay pulls him off, and then he's the one who can't escape and gets the hit. And then as Roman's like cowardly on the thing. That part I loved. I love the fact that Heyman's like, no, don't. He puts his arm and it's like, don't go down there. Like, I just thought they executed the story very well. It's just WWE has a tendency of doing the things that I don't like doing when they're in that sense. Like when they have that go home and they're kind of like the eyes are it's like when you're running the route before you catch the ball. Right now, the ball's coming. And I just don't want them to be running to the end zone before that catch.
So what's your concern that they're not like focusing in on what they're supposed to. Maybe that they're trying to overbook things a little too much. Is that what you're thinking? Because
I
can agree to a certain extent, and even Ed in the chat here kind of agreeing with you to a certain extent there.
I just don't want this to overshadow Cesaro.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real story. It's Cesaro. I get the whole side stories with Roman and the Usos, but sometimes I'm feeling that at the end of the episode, they're putting more of the Roman and the Usos story there than the challenger to the title. And I think with Cesaro, I think he deserves that spotlight. Like sometimes I think there's two spotlights instead of like just one big one sometimes gets both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's like, okay, which spotlight do we choose? And it's like, you know what? Like just put it on like that's what concerns me is that you have this side story that could overtake what we actually want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my fear. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's my fear because I have seen it in the past with WWE.
Yeah. That's even Spencer saying, as long as they keep walking this line, well, I'm loving it. I definitely agree, but it's definitely like Ed had mentioned there, we're on that razor edge there where we're we got to make sure that we don't overthink this thing too much, right?
And that's just it. Sometimes when you're walking on the wire, it's easy to trip one way when the other way. Like it's just one of those things where it's so easy to go the other way instead of just looking straight forward. And I think right now, if they keep looking straight forward, which is what they're doing, there is a bigger prize.
Yeah. Yep. Spencer saying, did someone say Razor's Edge? I did say Razor's Edge. Good catch, sir. Razor Ramon appears. But yeah, I mean, so it's
who is this Chico in the audience?
A good solid episode. I mean, not the greatest go home show that I've ever seen, but we accomplished what we needed to. I think that the mid part of the show, there were some kind of weak spots, but I think they definitely ended on the right note. And
there was this to that episode. I will say that.
Oh yeah, for sure. But we ended on a note to where I genuinely want to see the Cesaro versus Roman Reigns match at Backlash. I'm just calling it Backlash. I don't care when anybody thinks it's not WrestleMania Backlash. It's Backlash. We know it's after WrestleMania. That's done. But yeah, cool talking with SmackDown again with you, man. It's I think like 3 or 4 weeks in a row I watched SmackDown. That hasn't happened in quite a long time. So SmackDown has been a really good, solid show for the last little while, and I've been pleasantly surprised and impressed.
I will say that it's now been 2 SmackDowns without Daniel Bryan, and unfortunately, I'm going to say SmackDown is still. I'm not going to. Okay, SmackDown is still good to watch.
Yeah.
Even though Daniel Bryan's not on there, and I feel bad saying that because Daniel Bryan is such a great talent as well. But I think that just says strongly about what they're doing on SmackDown to where you can take somebody as good as Daniel Bryan away and they're still hitting home what they need to hit home. So with that being said, if you're not watching SmackDown right now and you love pro wrestling, please check it out because they're doing some good stuff there. And and apparently we are rating Juicy. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Cool. I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced, or Juice
or UC. I don't know if it's like, I know like with the Oilers we have like a Yesy.
I think that
looks like Jesse. So
I'm thinking in one of those we might have nailed it, possibly.
Yeah. Juicy.
I guess that about wraps it up for our Reacts episode here at SmackDown. But again, just wanted to thank like everybody like on Facebook, YouTube, especially our viewers and our subscribers on Twitch. Just thank you so much for listening and watching and supporting what we do. It's been absolutely fantastic, and reason why we continue doing this. I think I could speak for everybody over at Love Wrestling that you guys really help make all this possible, and it gives us motivation and reminds us why we love wrestling.
I have an idea. Before we raid, Ed, for everything you've done, please in the comments write down your Twitch handle, Twitter handle,
Yeah,
and let's post that on the comments. And
absolutely.
let's just take this time to say thank you to one of our most consistent followers in Ed. You have been an absolute beauty, and we appreciate you. And I think it's just appropriate to give you a little bit of a kudos and appreciation back, because that is what we do here at Love Wrestling. We take care of the ones that take care of us, and you guys take care of us. So thank you so much for taking care of us. Thank you so much for tuning in. But thank you even more for your love of wrestling.
Yep, absolutely. Just in case I don't end up on the PY show, I'm going to try to, but since we're not doing Sunday brunch this week, I just want to give everybody a brief preview. I don't think Pierce has even necessarily heard this yet of what we have. Here, actually, first let me post Ed's Twitch stuff there, but there we go.
There
And his Twitter handle as well.
Give Ed a follow, people.
Absolutely. Coming up this week on Turnbuckle Rewind, Carl and I are going to be probably doing one of the one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time, but amongst a lot of fans and podcasters and even other professional wrestlers, a lot of that this is their pick for probably what their favorite or one of their best wrestling matches of all time is. We're talking about
Crush and Doink.
We're talking about Macho Man versus Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. Dude, I can't wait to talk about that. I mean, it's a classic. It's one of the, if not the best wrestling match of all time.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm different. It's top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an iconic match because we still talk about it to this day. I mean, that's second to none, right? If you still talk about something, what was it? That was WrestleMania 3. We're now going to WrestleMania 30. That's 35 years ago, people.
We're
35 years ago.
We're really
that is like you take me away and go back to when I was like fetus parish. That's how long ago this was.
Oh boy.
And we're still talking about it. Not fetus parish, but the match. Go check it out. Turnbuckle Rewind, Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat.
Absolutely.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'll post the Nightbot comment here as we're getting ready to head out here. Make sure and go over and check out lovewrestling.ca/shop, and you can pick up things like this shirt, our masks, our mugs, and I mean there's more stuff there coming all the time.
Some stickers.
There's some stickers too. Yes,
we got stickers.
Stickers, yeah.
In case somebody's talking too much and you just want to shut them up, just put a Sunday brunch sticker on their mouth.
There you go.
There you go.
We don't encourage that kind of activity, Parrish.
You know what? If it's cheap promotion, I will.
Fantastic. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining me on this, and we'll see you guys on the next one.